Good morning. Thank you. It's an important day. Thanks. Welcome to our Worldwide Developers Conference 2005. Today's an important day. We've got some great stuff for you today. But I want to start off with just some stats on the conference. There's over 3,800 attendees today here. This may be the largest developers conference in Apple's history. I'm not sure, but I know it's the largest in the last decade. So welcome. There are developers here from over 45 countries, including China and India. And we've got some great stuff for you. Over 110 lab sessions. And of those, 39 are hands-on, where you're sitting there at machines during the labs. 95 presentation sessions. And over 500 Apple engineers are going to be on site this week to help you. So we have our Apple Design Awards, and this year we've got more entries than ever before, over 400 entries, and it just shows the vibrancy of the developer community out there. It's fantastic. But the number that blows my mind, for Apple Developer Connection members, we have now crossed 500,000 members. Isn't that amazing? So the developer community at Apple is thriving. I'd like to give you a quick update on retail next. Apple Retail, we've got 109 stores now around the world. We are seeing over 1 million visitors per week. 1 million visitors per week. And over the last 12 months, the retail stores and the online store have sold over $500 million worth of your products. So they're doing really well for us. We've opened a lot of stores like this in malls. We've also opened some what are called flagship stores. This one being in London. I don't know if you've been to the London store, but it's hopping. It's a phenomenal store. I was there about 2 weeks ago on a Tuesday afternoon. There were over 250 customers in the store, Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock. So it was amazing. Now, our retail group is constantly trying to find the best real estate to locate stores. And they made a video to show at a real estate convention, and I saw it and I nabbed it because I wanted to show it to you. So could we run that video now? So that's a little update on Apple Retail. We think it's the best buying experience in the world for personal computers. Now I'd like to give you an update on the iPod and our music efforts. You know, the iPod is really entered popular culture in America. You know that when you're lucky enough to get on the cover of the New Yorker. So we were thrilled with that. And that's reflected in iPod sales. This is the cumulative iPod sold, and at the end of last quarter, at the end of March, we'd sold about 16 million iPods. And that's also reflected in the iPod's market share. Of all types of MP3 players, including flash and hard drive, everything, 76% market share. So we're thrilled with that. Now, as you know, iTunes goes with the iPod. And we just recently crossed 430 million songs sold and downloaded in iTunes. We're thrilled with this, and that is again reflected in iTunes market share. We've gotten a lot of competition over the last 9 months, and what's happened? Our market share has gone up. It's now 82% in the month of May. Now, we recently announced something new for iTunes and iPod, and it's called podcasting. As you know, the podcasting phenomenon is exploding right now, and podcasting, of course, is a concatenation of iPod and broadcasting. And what is podcasting? You know, it's been described a lot of different ways. One way has been TiVo for radio. You can download radio shows and listen to them on your computer or put them on your iPod anytime you want. So it's just like television programs on TiVo, and that's true. Another way it's been described is Wayne's World for radio, which means that anyone without much capital investment can make a podcast, put it on a server, and get a worldwide audience for their radio show. And that's true too. We see it as the hottest thing going in radio, hotter than anything else in radio. And as you know, what podcasting is that you can not only download radio shows and listen to them, you can subscribe to them. So that every time there's a new episode, it automatically gets downloaded to your computer. You can listen to it there, or it automatically gets synced to your iPod the next time you dock your iPod. So it's very, very exciting. And there are over 8,000 podcasts now, and this is growing really, really fast. So that's pretty exciting. Now, it's not just amateurs doing these things, though. These 8,000 are not all amateurs, but the pros have realized that this is huge. And here's just a list of some of the companies doing podcasts now. All the major radio broadcasters, the network broadcasters, major magazines, major newspapers, even major companies like Disney and Procter & Gamble and Ford and General Motors. So it's pretty exciting. And so what we're doing is we're going to make this even easier, because you're not going to have to go download other applications and get all sorts of stuff together to make this happen. We're going to build it right in to iTunes and iPod, so you can subscribe to any podcast, and we're going to make it really easy. And so right into iTunes, very simple. But one of the most important things is, how do you find these podcasts? You want people typing URLs into iTunes? Well, they could do that, but we're also going to build right into the iTunes Music Store an iPod or a podcast directory, so that we're going to list thousands of podcasts, and you'll be able to click on them, download them for free, and subscribe to them right in iTunes. So I'd just like to give you a quick peek of what this is going to look like. Let me bring up iTunes here. And I'm going to go to the podcast homepage. And this is the podcast directory. And we're going to list, again, thousands of podcasts. Let's just go ahead and listen to one. We can go to one here. This is Adam Curry. He's one of the inventors of podcasting. And you could listen to his...
Source code episode 187.
So you could listen to an episode here, but it's much more interesting to subscribe to the podcast. And we've now subscribed to Adam Curry's podcast. It's flipped us up to this podcast thing right in the source list. It's downloaded the most recent one. If I want to download another one, I can just push a button and go download one of the older episodes. And I can listen to an episode.
Daily source code episode 187.
Something remarkable is happening here. Radio is springing free of the regulated gatekeepers who've managed what you can hear since radio was invented. It's jumping into the hands of anyone at all with something or nothing to say.
With $16 million worth of airplanes strapped to my ass. with the next generation radio content in my...
Okay. So, let me give you another one. Adam's great. This is KCRW. This is a show called The Treatment. They're a public radio station in LA. So let me go ahead and subscribe to The Treatment. And again, here's another one. I can close this one if I want to. And let's go listen to The Treatment.
This podcast of The Treatment is a production of KCRW Santa Monica at 89.9 FM and webcasting at kcrw.com.
From KCRW in Santa Monica, this is The Treatment.
So you get the idea. These are really cool. Some are amateur and some are pro. One more I want to just highlight. We're going to do one ourselves because we have New Music Tuesdays when we put new music on the iTunes Music Store. So we decided to do a podcast. This is just a test. But you can subscribe to that and, you know, get... chapters.
Toby Keith is like the god of... Mariah Carey keeps reinventing herself.
So, very, very simple. And we think it's going to basically take podcasting mainstream to where anyone can do it, and really easy to find these podcasts, really easy to listen to them. So we're very excited about this. I think it's going to be one more way in which iPod and the iTunes digital music community are really at the forefront of this stuff, bringing the innovation into the marketplace. Now, I'd like to give you a little update on Mac. Mac is doing really well right now. And let me start off with just some figures. If we look at growth rates, these are year-over-year unit growth rates for the last 5 quarters, ending in March. And if we look at the PC market, the growth has slowed down a little bit from just under 20% 5 quarters ago to just over 10% today. This is, again, year-over-year growth rates in terms of unit ship. But let's look and see how the Mac's done in the same period. Look at this. 9 months ago, the Mac took off in terms of growth rates, and it grew over 40%. So last quarter, the Mac grew at over 3 times the rate of the rest of the industry, and we're pretty excited about that. And the most important thing, of course, happening in the Mac is Mac OS X Tiger. I hope all of you are using it. We shipped it recently. I'm sure you're all using Spotlight, Dashboard. We've shipped H.264-based QuickTime 7. As a matter of fact, today, we're previewing QuickTime 7 on Windows, so you'll be able to download that later on today, so Windows users as well can get the best digital video in the world. You know, we've shipped over 1 billion copies of QuickTime during its lifetime. Over 1 billion copies. And now QuickTime 7 with H.264 is available on Macs and a preview release today on Windows. You've seen the new Mail with instant searching in it. We've seen Safari with instant RSS access built right into it. And you've seen iChat AV, where up to 4 people can do video conferencing right on the desktop with great quality, again, because of H.264. So Tiger, we think, is the best release we've ever shipped. And you know what? The critics have agreed. You know, the quotes, I'm sure you've seen some of them. This is from Computer World. Want to see what the future of personal computing looks like? Don't wait for Microsoft to show you. Go out and get yourself a copy of Apple's OS X Tiger. It's that good. Here's the New York Times. Spotlight isn't just a super fast find command. It's an enhancement that's so deep, convenient, and powerful, it threatens to reduce the 20-year-old system of nested folders to irrelevance. Hear, hear. CBSNews.com. I remember writing an article about Lotus 123 back when the product was released during the 80s. It may have been nearly 2 decades since I wrote that column, but it took Spotlight less than 2 seconds to find it. Business Week. Tiger bolsters OS X's edge as the best personal computer operating system around. And a similar one from the Detroit Free Press. It's the most elegant, useful, and powerful operating system I've ever used in 3 decades of computer ownership. it runs circles around Windows. And finally, Walt Mossberg, it leaves Windows XP in the dust. So, and I know you guys are all taking advantage of the latest, greatest Tiger features in your apps, and it's very exciting. And I'm really pleased to report to you that this week we will deliver